Welcome back to another episode of the Discovery Pod with Eve. I am Eve Richards. We've got such an exciting show today with two trailblazers. James Kabalan, who's actually a friend of mine and a dermatology student who's going to be going to Yale. And we've got Chris Cisneros, who's also a longtime friend, and he's a founder of a brand called Swen. We'll dive into their background in a few minutes. I am joined today by my co-host, Tony Blass. Tony is an actor, producer, director. He does it all. And also, did you know he can actually sing? I'm finding something new about Tony every single day. Before I start talking to Tony, remember to watch us every Thursday at 12 p.m. Pacific time on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel, or you could listen to us on your favorite podcast platform. Tony, welcome back. So tell us, you just got back from Korea. How was that experience?
Oh, it was wonderful. Absolutely life-changing. I have to say, I didn't know that Korea was such an artist community, and especially expats from around the world who have gone there to seek the artistic freedom. And so I've made dozens of friends, and I had the honor of performing on that wonderful stage. And the finale, we sang "We Are the World."
Oh,
and I just found out that our producer, Roger, produced the kids' version of "We Are the World" in 1985.
That is fantastic. Roger, I'm learning something about you every day as well. You can't see Roger, but it's like, oh my goodness, what can Roger not do, huh? Like, oh my goodness,
Everything.
Roger Neal, like, wow.
Yeah.
Incredible. So how was your experience? You'd been to Korea before, right?
No, I hadn't. I had no idea. I spoke no Korean, and I didn't know anyone. Well, I did. It turned out my nephew moved there and is from Ohio, has become a successful actor. He's in an improv troupe and on television. He was working on a soap opera. I had no idea I even had a young nephew who had decided that Seoul and not Los Angeles was the future for young artists.
Wow.
So it was good luck to Jordan Brown in Seoul, and I can't wait to go back.
That's fantastic. I think this is so inspiring for folks around the world that you can pretty much do anything. There are boundless opportunities out there. It doesn't have to be in LA. I mean, good for him succeeding in Korea. I am so fortunate that we're hosting two amazing guests who are my friends, and I cannot wait for us to delve into their background. But I also wanted to do a shout out to a family member, Johan, who had given me, he was just joking with me, but he was like, Eve, you got to go out and get a bling water bottle. So, Johan, I do actually have one, okay? So check this out, Johan. So he literally was making fun of me. So I literally wanted to say that Johan, I listen, and I do listen to people who have comments about the show. So please keep sending those comments. That's how we grow. We want to hear from you, what you don't like or what you like about the show. We are always open to feedback. So, gosh, we can't wait to delve into the background of Chris. I think we'll start with Chris Cisneros first, and then James Kabalan. So very exciting, inspirational stories.
Very inspirational, and I must say that is the blingiest water bottle I've ever seen.
Did you see that I love bling? Like, literally. Like, look at everything about me. It's all about bling. My business card holder, it's all pink. My mirror is the bling. So
you just like shining out in all directions.
Thank you, Tony. I'm just making fun of myself. So I got to make fun of myself every now and then. It's got to laugh it off. So I think we're ready for Chris. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so fortunate to be introducing my friend, Chris Cisneros, whom we worked together for a company in San Francisco so many years ago in marketing. Chris has transitioned. He now has a brand called Swen, which he launched several years ago. It is so wonderful to have Chris Cisneros here. He grew up in Lodi, California. Chris, it's so good to have you with us. Let's welcome Chris.
Thank you.
Yes.
Good to be here.
Thank you. So, Chris, it's so great to see you. Your journey since our days at Blue Shield has been incredible.
Right.
Can you share what inspired you to start your brand?
Right. So at the very end of 2013, I contracted what is known as West Nile virus. And I think I was still working with you. And I remember sending you emails. I was working out of Lodi for some small jobs for Blue Shield. And I just could not wake up at all. I was sleeping 17 hours a day. And I was trying to work at the same time.
Wow.
And I think I remember telling you and our friend Charmin George, our coworker, something's not right. I don't think I can finish this. And David Strickland, my editorial manager, was there. And I said, I think I have to stop working. And then I went to the doctor. And after 3 months of waiting, doing all these tests and blood tests, they came back and said I had West Nile virus,
Wow.
which is a mosquito-borne illness.
Oh, my goodness.
And
Scary.
it completely changed my life. Like even today, like my
Wow.
life it did a 360, like 180, you say.
Wow. Congratulations on the
thank you.
brand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, facing that kind of health risk must have been transformative. So, how did that change your perspective on life and your work?
Oh, but it makes you rethink your whole career path. And that's going to segue into the creation of my brand. So I couldn't work, first of all. So I was out of work for 8 years.
Oh, wow.
And my money, like resources were almost to zero.
Wow.
Like I literally had no money to the point where I had to file for bankruptcy.
Oh, my goodness.
And this is so embarrassing to even admit that. And this is nothing, like at Blue Shield, I was doing very well. I was getting paid.
But it's a very inspirational story.
Right,
and there's
right.
nothing to be afraid of it.
Right.
And you're here to inspire
Exactly.
others around the world that you filed for bankruptcy, but it's the
Right.
story in terms of
Exactly.
how you picked yourself up and you were
Precisely.
able to start your brand, which is what we're here to celebrate, right?
Yep.
So tell us, the message behind Swen, your brand, is truly powerful. Can you tell us about the philosophy behind the brand and what you want people to feel
Sure.
when they wear your clothing?
Sure. So just to back up just briefly, so basically because I couldn't get a job, I started the brand Swen. I told myself I'm just going to do this because I love I love athletic wear. So Swen, it's a Nordic term for young warrior, and it's also related to my last name, but that's a whole nother story, Cisneros. And I wanted to create a brand that was very clean cut. In a sense, it's athleisure, but a little nicer than athleisure. I didn't want it to be like a typical Nike or Adidas brand. I wanted it to be a cross between luxury and sportswear and
Got
golf
it.
wear. And the reason I focused so much on golf is because I wanted people to feel like a sense of, I guess this might be the wrong word, but like a sense of elitism, but not in the arrogant sense.
There's
but
nothing wrong with it, right?
Right.
It's just who you represent. It's the brand and
Exactly.
golf. And golf
Right.
is something that not everyone can. Golf
Right.
is an expensive sport.
Exactly.
It is what it is.
It's very
That's
expensive.
the truth. So you have no reason to apologize for
Right.
that.
But I wanted to feel that, give people confidence where they could wear something athletic, but it could also be something dressy.
Yeah.
So that's the main point behind the brand.
Well, I've worked for Laurel Piana, who specializes in not really athletewear, but like sort of for sports and particularly golf and other things, regatta. So they feel that their fabrics and designs actually improve performance.
Right.
Would you say that was true with your brand?
Right. And that was part of the inspiration. I wanted something where the materials, yes, polyester is huge. It's widely used, spandex, but I wanted something that was a little nicer. So I focus on cotton and polyester blends just because I think cotton and natural fabrics just feel nicer.
Yeah.
They're more comfortable. Where polyesters, it's a plastic
Yeah.
fabric. So I try to stay away from like too much polyester. So for me, it's finding a balance between material-wise, finding a balance between, something functional and something almost luxurious.
So growing up around the wine region, obviously you guys grow wines
Right.
in Lodi, in
Yeah.
your family.
Yep.
Did that background influence the way you approach your brand?
Absolutely. Because my parents, they had a restaurant for 31 years.
Wow.
And both of my grandparents, so my, both sets of grandparents, they also had businesses. So they became successful very early on when they moved here.
Wow.
So in the 1950s, my grandparents had a tortilla factory.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
And it doesn't seem like much, but
It is a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back then in 1950, it was pretty popular. And it became so successful that my grandma actually, she had her own bank because of all the money that she, yeah.
Wow.
It was a local
Wow.
bank in Tracy, California
That's incredible.
called Westside Bank.
Wow.
So not too many people come, and she only went to the 4th grade in school. So
That's
she was literally self-made.
What an inspirational story.
Right. And then so growing up with grandparents like that, and then having my parents have their own business, I felt obligated to push myself to continue my own brand
Wow.
instead
That's
of
amazing.
instead of just going along with the flow with everybody else.
Amazing.
And do you find it gives you a certain freedom in your life as being an entrepreneur and being able to do what you...
It does, yeah. But strangely, I often forget that I have my own brand. Like when I look at it, it's almost like, oh, that's a nice brand. It's called Swen. But I have to remind myself that it's my brand because I have models that wear the clothes for me.
That's incredible.
I mean, I'm not 19 anymore because I did model briefly, but, I'm in my 40s now. So
it doesn't matter. You don't look it, and you
Not
shouldn't
at
tell
all.
people your age. So, I think, Chris, this podcast, we've got listeners all around the globe. In terms of the brand and how you started, what is your advice for anyone out there who's going through challenges? Because this podcast for us is all about, it's a beacon of hope.
Right.
And based on your story, your journey, what advice would you give anyone going through some challenges and they want to start a brand or anything new, but they're facing some, they're sort of stuck?
Right. You just have to be very, very confident in yourself and believe that you can do it. And I know that sounds a little trite, but you can't second guess yourself too much. When you're starting a brand, you just be confident in what you know. Find something that you know well. In this case, I knew design, and I liked fashion because I lived in San Francisco, and
Yeah.
I know you like fashion. I was just very comfortable with those 3 items, and I just said, just keep going with it, no matter what people say. Even if I'm not making billions of dollars a year, I'm just going to keep going at it because little by little, it's getting noticed, and
Of
I love
course.
that. Like even for example, yesterday, because I have some skatewear too, and it's a little sub brand
Wow.
of Swen, of Swen,
Incredible.
and the sub brand is called S80. So the S stands for Swen, and
That's
the 80,
fantastic.
the 80 is another story. But I just dropped it off at the skate shop on Robertson Boulevard, and one of the owner's sons, there's 3 owners, and one of his father is Tony Hawk,
Wow.
the skater, and I did not know that. And so,
that.
yeah, so now my clothes are going to be exposed to Tony Hawk because his son owns a store.
That's fantastic.
Oh, man.
So
You
just
you
one-
scored on that
Yeah,
one.
so I was just casually going in. I had no idea. Wow. I just looked up, 5-star skating shops.
Wow, fantastic.
So you did copywriting in your earlier career, right? So do you write copy or do you just
Yeah.
hire it? Oh, you still
No, I
write
still
your own
do.
copy. Okay. So how is it different writing copy for yourself and your own product rather than for other people?
Well, first, I know the product very well, so it's easier. But at the same time, I'm used to writing copy for other people.
Well,
So I'm a people pleaser.
He's a very, very good copywriter. I can attest to that.
Yeah.
Very good creative copywriter. So, yeah.
So-
Good copywriters are defined.
Yeah, so I love coming up with headlines.
Yes.
And just even naming products.
Naming.
Yeah, for example, like one of the logos is this winged. It's a stylized wing.
Oh, yeah.
And so I love doing this, and so everything that has this logo, I call it the winged sweatshirt or the winged hat, or
So, you're here, you've got a global audience listening, and you've got this brand. What is your vision? What do you want people to, what's your journey in terms of what are next steps for the brand? I know it's a Latino-owned brand, which you're very, very proud
Right.
of, and we've got to celebrate you. But what do you, in terms of, if someone were to watch this who is a designer or someone else, in terms of collaboration, who do you want to collaborate with? Like, now the brand is small. What is your vision for your brand?
My vision is to make it as big as possible. I mean,
What does
that's
that
the end
mean?
goal. Getting to work with influencers. You know, you're an influencer. I consider you one. Getting to work with athletes that are coming up. You know, young athletes, but mostly promoting. Right now, if I were to say the next step would be promoting the brand to younger people.
Okay.
And giving the brand away, the products away, so I can spread the word.
I got to give you
Yeah.
one other tip
Sure.
as well, and I'm not saying it because he's right there. Roger, who executive produces, and he's my PR manager as well. If you need a PR manager, contact Roger, and he'll take your brand to the next level.
Okay, I might
I'm
have to
just
do that
saying
then.
this because it is so useful for people to know that when you're starting out small and you really want to take your brand to the next level, it's always good to work with a PR manager,
Right.
and I can attest to that. Roger has been in the business 43 years. I'm not saying it because Roger is right there, but you're working with someone who knows what he's
Right.
doing, and he could take you to the next level. So that's something that you should think about in terms
No,
of taking
I
it to
will.
the next level
Definitely.
for exposure.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, do you mentor young people at all, and do you see that as something you would like to do in the future?
I'm starting to, yeah, little by little. Some of my followers, they'll ask me for advice about starting brands, or they'll want to be ambassadors for me. And I keep in touch with them, obviously. And little by little, I talk to them and I ask them, what do you think I should do with this next release? And they'll give me their feedback. And then I kind of, in a sense, I mentor them on what they should do.
Amazing.
Because a lot of them want to do what I'm doing.
So, Chris, I really connected with your story, not because I know you, but I also liked your background, your story about your family,
Yeah.
and how close you are to your
Very close,
family.
yeah.
You could have moved to San Francisco, or you could live in LA,
Yeah.
but you choose to live in Lodi because of that close relationship you
Exactly.
have. So what does that, in terms of the family values, what does that mean in terms of shaping who you are as a
Mm-hmm.
man today? What has that done for you?
It helps me. Well, first of all, they provide a lot of support.
Yeah.
Like in every way,
Yes.
you know, love, emotional support, financial support, obviously. My grandparents were very generous people. And so something happens when you're young and you're born into that kind of environment where you just feel very, I guess, supported in every way.
Yeah.
And so I think that little by little that shaped me and it gave me the confidence
That's incredible.
doing the brand.
Chris, this interview has gone by so quickly. We're down to the last 2 minutes. And the last question is, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not sure, but I mean, there's some celebrities. So when I was growing up, I was always obsessed with Michael Jackson and Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And if I could have dinner, I would have to have dinner with those two because I think they're so
Amazing.
cool.
Amazing. Chris, it's been such a joy to reconnect and hear your story, your ability to transform challenges into something positive and meaningful through Swen's truly remarkable. For folks listening, please follow Chris. He's on, plug your Instagram, your brand's website.
So my brand is Swen, SWN, right here on my hat. The website is swenwear.com. And the Instagram is at Swen_IG4. And for the skating account, it's Swen_S80.
Chris, you're truly inspiring. Keep shining. And to our listeners, remember, life is short, but there's always time to create something beautiful. So, everyone, thank you so much. Tony, this has been incredible, right?
Absolutely. I love hearing about people going out and following their dreams and being successful at them. And boy, I think you really hit it with Tony Hawk. So please say hi to him.
Yeah, I will.
very much admire him.
Hopefully his
And
son reaches out to me.
Thank
See
you
what
so
happens.
much, Chris, for coming, and I'm going to see you later tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching us. You could listen to this episode on the Discovery Pod with Eve's YouTube channel or your favorite podcast channel. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with my friend, James Kabalan. Everyone, wasn't Chris just fantastic?
Really inspiring.
That was an inspiring interview. And now we are fortunate to have someone who is my best friend, James Kabalan. James is going to a dermatology school in 2 months. He's going to Yale. I'm so proud of him. So let's welcome James Kabalan. James,
Thank you for the introduction.
of course. I have to say to everyone, James and I talked, and he's very comfortable with what we're going to share. I just wanted to put it out there. So he and I have talked, and so whatever we're saying today, he already knows, and he's very, very comfortable with it.
Okay, great. Well, then let's jump right in. Growing up in Lebanon, where societal norms could be very tight, especially for someone in the LGBT community, how did you find the courage to embrace your true self?
I was just feeling like in a prison and I wasn't feeling like myself. So growing up, I was always thinking out of the box, different than what other people think. I never cared of what others think of me as a person.
Yeah.
So I just do me, and this is what gave me the courage to come out in 2020. This is the year I came out.
Yeah.
I was still in college.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, James, your story, I was so moved by your story, but also you're 25. You just turned 25.
Yeah.
And you are like, I mean, you're so mature for your age. I thought your journey was so inspirational. And you're such a sweet person. For anyone in the world who's struggling with their identity, what's your advice?
My advice to them is not to be scared, because life is so beautiful and it just gets better when you are yourself, and then this is how you find your people as well.
Yes.
So I would say this is my winning year, because I came out in 2020, but this is 2024. So this is 4 years after. This is the first year I feel I am myself, and this is how I fell in love with life and with the universe, and this is how it brought people back to me in my life. And I found my people, and like Eva, you're one of them too.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I can see you guys have such a great friendship. I see you out all together. And I got to say, you reflect each other in a certain
we
way, because
do.
you're both so glamorous.
We do.
And you're always in glamorous locations taking
Yes.
great, wonderful pictures. So
We love life.
love,
That's the
right?
answer.
That comes through. Okay.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. So, I mean, James, I am so impressed that in 2 months you're going to Yale, and I'm going to miss you a lot.
Me too.
But I'm so proud of you, James. Tell us, because your career, I mean, you love modeling, and here you are going to dermatology school. So, what is your future aspirations when you go to dermatology school?
Well, both I think goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Because both deals with beauty, with aesthetics, and I have developed that passion ever since I was 14.
Wow.
So I used to go to the pharmacy back in the Middle East, in Lebanon, and just buy some kind of skincare, random stuff, and then mix them together and try to put them on my face. And I burned myself multiple times until I went to a ski trip, and that ski trip with school burned my face because I was using like strong active on my face, and then the sunburn and the reflection on the snow.
Wow.
It did make my face burn, and I developed skin cancer on my nose, on the tip of my nose, that didn't go away in like 6 months or 9 months. So I was like not seeing the sun, very insecure.
Wow.
And then this is when I had my twin brother, George, we just met. And then we were very much identical, like we look exactly the same. So we would go to school and my face was burned, and they will call me the ugly twin. So this is also bullying in school that also tried to affect me in some ways.
Yes.
And I stopped I don't want to go to school anymore. I would
Wow.
wake up and want to stay home. But I didn't really let it affect me because I know I was like so much stronger than that.
Good.
And then went to multiple dermatologists and fixed that.
So when you were experiencing bullying in school, did you feel that the adults, the teachers or whoever, did they know that you were being bullied and did they help you, or did they ignore it, or maybe even favor the other guy?
Yeah, such a good question. I think both. There were some people who would say something about it, and some other people, they care less about it. And I think now, especially with cyberbullying and like the online social media, people, they would just look at other people and try to compare themselves to. That's, I think, the main issue here, the taboo that they should change. But for me, I was like more, I would go home and tell my mom and my dad. They were helping, but at the same time, they also couldn't really do much about it because of the society.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of fit in
Wow.
to whatever other people, if they're saying, oh, you're wearing red shoes, you cannot wear red shoes, so you never wear red shoes. I wouldn't care. I would go buy a new orange shoes.
Yeah. So, James, you were born in the States. So,
Yeah.
obviously, you've been very fortunate to grow up in two different cultures. What lessons have you learned from both Lebanon and the U.S. that have shaped who you are today?
To each their own. Like I learned from both cultures, so I took the good from each side and discarded the bad stuff. Like culturally in Lebanon, I think they're very well, like family, like grow together. It's very family oriented,
Yeah.
which they don't have here. For example, in the U.S.
Yeah.
At certain age, the kids would like just leave their
The
parents,
house,
and at some
At
point,
18.
yeah, and then they never meet with them again.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh, that's
in the
not
future.
the same.
It's not the same. So the cultural side, the aspect of it, and morals and the values, this is, I think, was cultured in me.
Yeah.
And from the US, I got just inspiring and the lifestyle, health, wellness, everything.
And you're a health buff, so he exercises twice a day consistently. Like you're at the gym at like 6 a.m. and then he's at the gym at 7 p.m.
Wow. Good for you.
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned morals, so I do want to just ask about that because I've seen your Instagram before, and I note a little bit of maybe religious belief of some kind or another. Do you feel comfortable talking about that?
Yeah, absolutely. I grew up very Catholic, very Catholic house. My mom, she's still in like the church and charities, and she loves what she does and how she brings back to the community. But I think at the same time, I'm not very super religious. Like I believe in God and I believe in Jesus, but also doesn't like really get me. Like I would have to go to the priest and tell him what I did wrong. I don't do that. so that's.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, but that side, I'm very religious and spiritual, I would say.
So we've got to talk about your experience since you graduated from college. You've been working for a dermatologist,
Full-time.
Dr. Amir,
Yeah.
Jason
Amir.
here in Beverly Hills. What is that experience in terms of how has that shaped your next transition into going back to school?
It's actually, I was just thinking about that the other day in the morning. Dr. Amir, he's very inspiring in how he works and medical school, the aspect of like business and also medicine. I think that full-time job gave me discipline this year. I was disciplined before, but not as much as of like time management with like sport, school, and also working full-time. So that gave me discipline, I would say.
Amazing.
And what sports do you play?
I used to play tennis before, and I'm trying to go back into swimming again because I was also
Oh
a
my
swimmer
gosh.
before.
Roger swims every day.
Every day, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
6 days a week.
Wow.
So, wow, that's incredible.
That's impressive.
So, James, you're so young. You're 25, and you're going back to school. You're going to, dermatology school. So, once you graduate as a dermatologist, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
I would see myself back in LA because I feel like LA is a place belongs to me. And I was born.
You were born in Beverly
I was
Hills.
born in Beverly Hills, so I also never knew that I would be back and work in Beverly Hills or even after college.
And your grandparents
So
are
life
here.
also, yeah, my grandparents are here too. But I feel like my life came back all together, full picture after. Like I didn't even know. That's also one thing I would tell to like younger people. And you don't have to be like very worried of what's like tomorrow or your future. I think things fall together at the same
At the
time. Like, yeah, they come together in one picture.
Yeah.
So don't much worry. Yeah.
That's good advice for everybody,
Yeah.
I think.
Yes.
We spend a lot of time worrying about things that won't happen
Exactly.
and don't anticipate,
Yeah.
challenges
And
that
focus
do happen.
on the presence because you never know what's tomorrow. And then if you enjoy the presence,
Yeah. So, going back to you coming out, knowing how society is in Lebanon, you took a risk
I
with
did.
your family coming out, knowing how there's a lot of pressure for them. They want you to get married. Has that journey been worth it in terms of coming out and leaving your authentic, true self?
definitely worth it. Like that's for sure. Because if I was doing what other people expect me to do,
Yes.
I probably would be staying with my parents, like living with them or staying in the Middle East and don't go after what I want and love to do. So that also shaped my character and personality.
Wonderful.
So
I wouldn't take anything back. No regret. I move with no regrets.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to be a star. I can feel it from here. So good for you.
Thank you.
Go forward and conquer.
Yes,
you.
I know you are. And James, this is so inspirational because this podcast to me is, I look at it as a beacon of hope for
Yeah.
others around the world. And I know there are so many people out there who will connect to your story because you're such a sweet person. You're young, but you took a risk and came out knowing how the society in the Middle East can be very brutal, even within your
They
own,
still are.
even within your own family.
Yeah.
Like, not your
Yeah.
parents or your
Yeah.
brother, but there are other family members who may not accept you. How does that make you feel when you're being judged by people close to you?
It makes me feel honestly sad because people who judge others are not happy themselves
Yeah.
with their own identities, so they always project the bad things onto others. So that's one thing I'm always like, I'm like such advocate for love, for self-love, and also love others. Like I want everyone to win, everyone to succeed, everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
This is, I think, one thing even other societies, I know this is valid in the United States, but
Yeah.
maybe not in other cultures, to feel good for others and do good in life.
I know that's what you want to
Yes.
do. If you could go back and tell your younger self one piece of advice, what would it be? And what do you hope people would learn from your story of authenticity and courage?
Definitely one thing I would tell myself, my younger self, is take the risk, take it even younger. Because I took it when I was 20.
That's pretty young.
You're still young.
So I know. But I was like 20 when I came out.
Oh,
But
James.
when I came out at 20, I was like not like, I was like feeling like in prison. It's like there is something wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible. Wow. This has been fantastic. And I really, really hope that folks can feel inspired from this story, from your story. For folks out there who are listening, what would you want them to know about you, your upbringing, something that really helped shape who you are as a man today?
One thing would be like the same. I'm trying to think.
It could be something related to your modeling career. You love modeling.
Modeling. I love modeling. Also, I was very young, 14, I think, or 15, when I used to go and just save some money and go and buy some clothes and try to put pieces together and outfits together. And I tried to join a modeling agency back in Beirut, in Lebanon, but it didn't really work out because it was just like how they want it.
Yeah.
How they want to dress you, or how you have to look certain way. And even same here, like also in the United States and LA, there's like lots of competition and toxicity in the industry. But I'm like doing what I feel
is important
to me, and that
that's
aligns with
your values,
with my values.
And I know one thing that I want for you as well is, and that's something that we all want. You and I have talked about is love, right? Because I know you've had some challenges as well, and I keep holding on to James like he's like he and I talk about this, and I want to see you happy, and I know that you're gonna connect and have that amazing relationship.
Absolutely,
so.
But I think you're on the right course in saying that you have to love yourself first.
Yes.
You know, to quote the great RuPaul, gay icon,
yes.
If you can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love anybody else?
Absolutely. And for relationships, I think when you're at your healed version, it's very hard to connect with someone who is not fully healed.
Yes.
So I'm
that.
at my healed version.
I love that because
so I wouldn't accept anything.
We've talked about this before, and I said to you, like, no, cut it out.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you with anything that's going through. You don't need drama. Don't lower your standards. James, the last question that we usually ask is, if you could have dinner with 3 people, dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Oh my God, that's a hard question. Dead or alive?
Yes. Someone who inspires you. There's so many people out there who inspire you.
Yeah, absolutely. Besides us, because we always love going out to dinner.
Besides us.
I would say my dad. My dad, because me and my dad, we didn't really have like connected when I was growing up, and he didn't really understand me.
Wow.
But lately, I have seen him in May when I visited Lebanon, and
you talk to him every day.
Yeah, and then we came a really long way.
Oh, that's fantastic.
And he always checks on me. He wants me to be happy. He wants me to be just doing me, because he knows I'm like...
That's incredible for him to come full circle. Accept who you are today.
And I know he's such a sweet guy and such a sweet person too, so we came a long way.
Do you know what I connected about this story as well is you did not give up. You knew your family members were going to come full circle.
Yeah.
And I know you struggled knowing how difficult it was, but it's such a beautiful story.
I think it's the best answer I've heard to that question. When you say you would like to have dinner with your dad and with Eve.
Yes.
You know, because let's face it, Eve is very inspiring.
I know.
No,
she is. She is very inspiring. And this podcast is a celebration of her. And
we're celebrating you.
That's
right?
too.
Absolutely.
No,
That's
seriously.
too. But also you're bringing lots of attention and inspiring stories to share with the world. So
this is an inspiring story, right?
Too.
Because you're young, you're handsome, you are talented, you're gifted. So many people are going to connect with your story, James. It's incredible. I think this interview would resonate with so many people around the world. And I'm so proud of you for opening up, coming, to talk about this. And it makes me want to cry because I know how important this was for you,
Mm-hmm.
for you to do this. And it's so inspirational. Thank you. I'm really at awe for you celebrating your
Me too.
authenticity.
Keep going, James.
Thank
Yes.
you.
You're wonderful.
And so
Fight the world, did you say?
Fight the world.
Yeah, fight the
So-
world.
All it takes.
I'm gonna ask James a question. He may not like this, but is there anything special that you want to tell us? Is there anything new in your life that we need to know about?
Not really.
There's
Not
nothing
really.
special.
Not really.
Not ready? For
Not ready.
public.
Okay,
There's always drama.
Tony.
I'm not into drama.
Tony, I mean, as we wrap up this interview, I mean, what's
Well-
your advice?
Well, my advice is that I just found out that one of my gay nephews wanted to be an actor, and he lived in Ohio, which is also a repressive place. And he ended up going to Seoul, Korea, to have the freedom to
Wow.
express himself, and he's doing very well as an actor
Wow.
over there.
I'm so proud of him.
So yeah,
James.
follow it.
That's amazing.
James, thank you so much for coming and talking to us. And I know so many people are going to find this session or this episode very inspirational, motivational, whatever you could say to describe it. But I am so fortunate to have you as my friend, my family, and all of that. Thank you. I hope you